Well, representatives of the federal government and the organized labor have resumed talks, or that was even before now, to provide solutions to the harsh conditions trailing failed subsidy removal at the presidential villa in Abuja. Now, the meeting, known as the Presidential Steering Committee on Palliatives, comprised of the federal government team and the organized labor, represented by the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, to take a briefing from 3 subcommittees on mass transit, CNG, cash transfers, which the government had proposed to cushion the effect of subsidy removal. But the protest is on in various states of the Federation. And to talk more on this, I have a former, he's been a labor leader, former president of the Petroleum Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, also a former president of the Trade Union Congress. No other person than Comrade Peter Esele. Good afternoon. It's good to have you on the program. Thank you for your time. Yes, like I said, we'll get talking about the ongoing protest. And Comrade Peter Esele is a former president of Pengasan and also of the Trade Union Congress. Comrade, it's good to have you on the program. My question to you earlier is that finally, after meetings upon meetings, we see that Labour and the federal government didn't actually get to resolve all of the contending issues. But to you, how would you react to this protest first? Let me ask you, considering the state of our economy at the very moment.
First is, thank you for having me. And I would say so far, so good. There is no report of violence. There's no report of innocent passers-by nobody's being prevented from going to work. So that's one. Then on the other hand, is that the labor unions are expressing their right, which is enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, their right of protest. So as long as protest is done within the ambit of the law, I don't think we have too much to worry about. As long as security personnel too are also providing enough security. So far, the report I've gotten, there'll be no report of violence.
But in your thoughts, what sort of palliatives or interventions are you looking at? Yes, because it's very important we tend to identify what we think would be the quick wins for government, because all of us, even I think arguments that we've had before now is that everyone, and experts like you, say subsidy should go. So if subsidy goes, what should be the quick wins for government? Comrade Esele.
I think the biggest challenges government is facing is a spillover from the previous administration. Because what this government, I think the last interview we did, I said this government is walking into a booby trap. What one would have expected is that the foundation for this would have been laid by the previous government. And then the speech that the president gave a couple of days ago was also a speech whereby is a speech that I would say is about 4 weeks late. All in all, as they say, it's better late than never. And the president also acknowledged that in his speech. So what would be the quick wins for me is immediately the president had made that pronouncement that subsidy is going, is that we would have just mop up the entire country of any bus that we can lay our hands on, 45-seater, 20-seater buses. And then we link up with our local manufacturers, NLC Motors, and give them the order that produce whatever CNG truck you can produce, and then let's distribute it ASAP. That will be the short-term, immediate action that will be taken. The president made reference in his speech that 3,000 buses will be provided. But we ask ourselves, when would that be available? So if this Innocent, Leyland, and NAPCO, Peugeot, Ashok, if they have any buses within, then you get hold of those buses and then deploy them to states like Lagos. President said 20-seater buses. Lagos don't need 20-seater buses. For a city like Lagos, we should be talking about minimum of 45-seater buses. And then the president giving us that whatever you can produce, we will buy them. And then that has to be the federal government, state, and the local government. Most times our attention is on the federal government. The state government and the local government have a lot to do, because right now federal allocation of federal revenue has increased by over 142% since the removal of subsidy. So the quick wins will be get those buses, irrespective of where they are, go into an agreement with National Union of Road Transport Workers and deploy the buses, and then ask them to be at a certain prices. That is where the subsidy will come in. All over the world, transportation is heavily subsidized. So that will be the first quick wins before we now look at every other investment in CNG and then looking at workers' with salary increase. Salary increase is not going to happen overnight. There may still be ongoing negotiation for another 60 days before we can get that.
Staying with salary increase, economists have also argued that any salary increase that is out of the way would also hit hard on inflation. That is what some are also worried about. I don't know if that how you react to that concern.
Yes, economics, you know what economics are there for. Economics will always tell you all things being equal. You and I know that things are never equal. Now, the first thing you ask yourself is because we are talking about the public sector. I will tell you that out of private sector companies that have already gone ahead and increased salaries. I don't want to mention names. I know of some unions that have already gone into negotiations, some management that have even gone ahead of federal and state government to effect salary increases for their workers. So one of the reasons why people talk about inflation is because these ones are going to be announced. Pengasel will open up negotiation with various management. NUPEN will do that, and some other unions will do that, but nobody will know that these increases have taken place. But because we are going to get civil servants to be involved and it's public, so that's why economists will come and tell you that, oh, salary increase will hit the economy hard. Yes, it will, but it's something that we have to do because, of course, if people don't have enough money, there is not enough purchasing power. So what would you have? We are not going to be talking about inflation. As long as people cannot now go ahead and make purchases, what economy are you having? So people must have money in their pocket to spend for we to have an economy that will grow.
So with all of these issues now, looking at CNG being the way to go, you are also very experienced in the oil and gas space. Many are saying that, are we really ready to take advantage of our gas reserves at the moment? Do you see that sincerity in government so that we start to look away from PMS, which we cannot really control the price?
I think I'm going to give this administration a benefit of a doubt. They are barely 2 months old. So if I'm going to hold them that they are not sincere about CNG, I think that would be a great disservice to them. So if we come back to this conversation in 7 months' time, then I'll be in a better position to tell you whether this administration can be trusted to do that. We have a gas plan. There's a gas plan for this country that is the Federal Ministry of Petroleum. So the government should get hold of that gas plan. That gas master plan, was from I think it was President Jonathan's administration. So you had Jonathan's administration, and the last Buhari administration did not do anything about the gas master plan. So if the Tinubu administration decide to sit up and look at the gas master plan and look at what can be done, is huge. We are not a crude oil producing country. We are a gas country. And the gas reserve of Nigerian gas reserve is over $3 trillion. So we need to take advantage of that. And how do we do this? When we talk about making vehicles, trucks, buses available, even our vehicles now, you have to run them on CNG. Where is the cost coming from? The fabrication, you have employment, you have employment opportunity in fabrication, you have employment opportunity in dispensing. And you also have employment opportunity in maintenance. So if we put our attention on all of that, you are going to find out that over a period of time, you and I will not have choices. I will have a choice whether to use PMS to power my car or to use CNG. And CNG is also cleaner and it's cheaper.
True. So now let's wrap up this conversation and say now the protest is on. And of course, many know that this will definitely impact. Even the organized private sector is saying government and labor must just find a level ground and at least resolve some of those issues. What do you said it's peaceful. I agree with you, it's peaceful. But definitely you agree that there would always be an impact on the economy. That impact is what I want us to wrap up with. And what do you think government can do to at least maybe make the labor union have a rethink about this decision?
Yes, I think government has made the first step. The first step is the president's address, which means, for me, what I take from the president's address is that it's not taking Nigerians for granted, which is good. Then the second aspect now will be the need to move on and have. I'm also happy that negotiation is going on. There's nothing wrong about what Labour is doing at the moment. I'm not worried about it. Protest is a pressure. It's to bring more pressure on the government. Yes, we are aware that you've addressed, we are aware that you've laid certain plans out for the future, but can we also now look at what you are going to do for the now? Let's take, for example, if tonight they agree that this is the X amount for minimum wage, and the president announced the minimum wage tomorrow, that will further douse tension. The president address, actually, I will tell you, also douse tension. So if they announce that this is taken away from tonight's meeting, that will also douse the tension. And how many vehicles is coming from Innocent going to Lagos, Kano? Because Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Rivers, that's Port Harcourt, Rivers, and then one other states in the north is about 40. You're already talking about 40% of our population. So if you address that, not even doing everything overnight, but just say, yes, this is what we are doing at the moment. Bosses start coming in. Yes, Governor Sanwo-Olu also made reference to price reduction. All of this should have been done like about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We will not have allowed this tension to build up. But I'm still very optimistic. I'm looking at the glass as half full rather than half empty, that Labour and government will come out with something very soon.
Well, hopefully. Let's see how that plays out. Comrade Esele, before I let you go, our refineries, that's also something that everyone has been talking about, that we've been spending a lot of money in also revamping these refineries, and they seem they're not refining anything. We expected Port Harcourt to come on stream according to the NNPC, nothing at the moment. Some say the Labour should also beam their searchlights around that end.
I will tell you categorically that Labour is doing that. One thing is, I have been a former president of Pengasen. We do have meetings with the sitting president. So the sitting president also told us what they are doing around that. So hopefully the plan is that before the end of the year, Port Harcourt may come on stream, or worst case scenario, first quarter of next year. Don't forget, NNPC is now quasi private company. So we are looking forward to Port Harcourt coming up towards the end of the year or early next year. Dangote Refinery, I can't really speak for that now. I was hopeful that before the end of July, probably we'll start refining. But a report I'm getting is that it's not going to come up as we had thought. So the challenges is enormous before this administration, because if we don't, I can tell you categorically that if we don't improve our local refinery, if local refinery don't come up, the pressure on FX is going to keep increasing, because if somebody is importing, normally importation, you have a 90-day stock, and the price of crude keep going up, we may come in September or October and we will likely pay more for PMS. So if we have local refining capacity, it will make it easier for less pressure on FX, and that will also reduce certain amount of money for each liter of petrol that we will buy. But it's a bumpy road ahead. And the president asked for this job. He was hired for this job. And the president needs to find solution to all of this. And I wish him best of luck.
I must thank you so much, Comrade Peter Esele, former President Pengasan, former President TUC. Well, do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.